Good morning and welcome to the Finance Committee meeting, April 26th. I call the meeting to order. I need a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. First item is minutes from March 22nd Finance Committee meeting for approval.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, next up, Mrs. McLam, fiscal 23 budget proposal.
Yes, so I've included a PowerPoint, basically very similar to what we saw at the work session. Just wanted to see if there was any additional feedback from you all about any adjustments that need to be made. There weren't any requests for changes at the work session, so just wanted to bring it back before I put it together for the full board and the BOCC.
I guess the question that I have is for security. Do you think that we're going to need that level of security now that the number of people coming to the meetings have going down and they're more it's more a smaller group, so it's not as big of a deal. We don't have people outside anymore or anything that we need officers outside. Does anyone, Todd or Jimmy, have any interest?
I guess if you bring that up from the standpoint of that, if in fact something was to kick off, how quick could security be brought to bear, or is this something that we see as a continuum, as a way to always know that our meetings are well protected?
I agree. So do you think we need to leave the money in there or half of it, or I mean, we can always add back?
Shauna, the 40,000, is that what we spent additionally last year with the extra issues we had last year or over COVID and so forth?
Yeah, that's the projected increase, plus they haven't increased the off-duty pay.
So some of this we have to do anyways because off-duty.
Sounds like it increases there, but I don't know
If you all would like, I could maybe go and look at maybe half the number that we're currently bringing in at our board meetings and run some numbers on that based on that, and then any increase in the off-duty pay. And
you know, off the top of your head, what a general meeting, what did we have at a general meeting? What were we scheduling for the meetings where we were having larger crowds? Was it double the officers or?
Right. So normally there were 2 from the city, and I believe either 2 or 3 deputies at a regular meeting. Now we have probably 4 maybe city officers, and I would say 8 to 10 deputies.
And where do you get that scheduling from? Is that something the city and the county, is that their recommendations, or who schedules that?
No, that
Jared.
was requests. Yeah, Jared schedules that, but those were requests from the board to have an additional presence.
Madam Chair, are you feeling as though we no longer need that presence?
I mean, a lot of it was just crowd control outside for a while, right? Now, I don't think that we have that as much, but if we anticipate having it, then we should put it in the budget. But I think we could probably go for half of it, and in case we have any issues, because there could be more people coming at some point in time.
So half as a standard going forward, half of what?
Well, that'll pay for their extra, for their increase in pay.
No, I'm with you. I'm just simply saying,
okay,
at the maximum number that we have now, which Shauna believes is 4 from the city, about 8 or 10 from the county. If we just cut that in half, and that's just us going forward, should be sufficient.
Can you look into that before our board meeting? I would appreciate that.
Yeah, I'll be
Yeah,
glad to.
maybe get the
I just want to make
recommendations
sure
from,
there's enough
from
money
Jared.
in the, oh, sorry, Todd.
I'm sorry, maybe get Jared's recommendation too. I mean, he works hand in hand with the city and the county on that.
Okay.
And we have to cover the increase in duty pay. So we need to make sure that that's the right number. So, in the increase in board member monthly stipends amounts, when we had talked to it about a little bit, you had done some research on similar boards members.
Yes. Yeah, there's
Okay.
there is a trend right now. It appears a lot of districts are reviewing board pay. I don't know if it's a result of COVID or what it may be. I see a lot of variation. There was several districts that were collecting data and looking at what everybody does, who pays, for what as for their board. It appears that, and this increase would be in line with what other districts are proposing and looking at doing moving forward.
Okay, this should be, if we move forward with it, I believe that it shouldn't go into effect until the new board is seated in December.
Okay, so that would
I'm good with that.
would break this in half.
Okay.
Okay. Is there
Okay.
anything else that you all want me to look at?
I personally, and so the numbers at the bottom on the first page for operating, it doesn't include the 2 million. We're holding that separate, correct? The supplement, $2 million. I want it to be a standalone thing because it's not part of our budget, because we were told that they would give us the money for the second half of the teacher supplement. So they gave us $500 toward the 1,000. We gave the other 500 toward it, but they were supposed to give us the money in fiscal 23 to make up the whole $1,000 stipend, because it's a recurring cost every year.
Correct.
So I just want to
it's its own line item.
What?
So
It's its own
line item, so it doesn't come in until the very bottom of the total request of 124 million.
Okay, I don't want it as part of that. I want it separated because it's not part of our budget request, because they told us last year that it would be part of it, that they would fund the whole thing.
You want it as like 122 with the 2 million added coming up to the 122.
Yes. Okay. Yes. I just want to highlight the fact that we were told last year that this would be coming to us.
Okay.
I agree with that highlighting.
Thank you. Todd, are you good with that?
I'm good with that.
Okay, good. Does anyone else have any questions on that page? And Shauna, last year when we did the budget, the full budget, and I know this is not the full budget that would go to the county, are we going to do a couple slides explaining what we need in these a little bit more like we did last year?
Yes, so
okay, good.
Yeah, there are some slides in some previous presentations that went into those details, so yes.
Yeah, I think it's important to do that for
and
some
I'll
of these
add all the statistical data
Yes.
that about supplements and all the things that support all of these requests.
Okay, great. I appreciate that. Okay, so anything else on the first page? On the second page of the proposed operating budget? Nothing. Okay. Capital, anything on capital? I think I'm good with it.
The only thing I will mention on the capital is I think they're almost to the point of they've done the RFP and I think have reviewed for the laptops for the teacher and admin units. So hopefully the dollar amount that I've got on here won't need to be adjusted, but once we get all that finalized, I'll know once we've secured the lease.
Okay. Okay. So then we go to the proposed local funding request. And then that's where you're gonna pull out the $2 million for the supplements.
I can definitely put it on both.
Thank you. Perfect. Okay, anybody else have any questions on the? Nothing. Okay.
Madam Chair, before you move forward, John, did you all, as you all assess this, even after we've looked at it time and time and time, did you have to do any tweaking that you may want to make us aware of?
No, I haven't had to make any adjustments that we either haven't discussed, but I haven't had to tweak anything because honestly, most of that's because the state budget was already, we knew what the retirement rates and the hospital rates and a lot of those things. We're not getting late information on that.
Okay, so I would, sorry, Reverend Benson, were you gonna say something? No. Okay, I need a motion to send the fiscal year 23 budget proposal to the full board.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, 3-0 to send it to the board. Okay, next up is the identified funding for approval for Esser 3 and fund balance.
Yes, so in our original presentation and discussions with the board, we shared with you that we identified some items that we are seeking your approval for now, so we can begin either hiring or moving forward with the progress if we've got the funding already identified. So there's learning loss lines that qualify for Esser. Some of those funds will be allocated directly to schools. Some, we do have the 30 reading specialists and some academic supports.
So then the first thing under learning loss support, temporary staffing, is that the tutors and things?
Yes.
Or that's the money we give individual to the schools based on needs. Okay,
right.
Thank you.
And then on the fund balance assignments, a lot of this, we've talked about the laptops for school nutrition, the tech fees, and then the athletic items as part of the middle school athletic.
I really think that we need to go back to making parents pay for the $25 technology fee.
That's something we have talked about to help offset this. We saw a spike when that $25 fee was no longer required.
Okay, so I have a question back up in learning loss. What's the difference between 1 and 3? Funding to support secondary level academic needs, because isn't 1 including the secondary level?
They would receive some allocation, but we're evaluating maybe some consistent, and I don't know if Dr. Houlihan wants to speak a little more to it.
Yeah, I'd like to understand more about the extra $600,000.
Yeah.
Because wait, I want to confirm the funding in 1 includes all the schools, right? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so tell me about the 600,000.
So the thought there, part of what we've discussed is taking a look at where we can expand our current math tutoring model as an option to support, especially our middle grades programming. When we look at our math data in particular, we've got several schools beyond East Union Middle School and Monroe Middle School that if we can find the tutors and those kinds of things available, we'd like to try to figure out how to expand that beyond just those 2 middle schools in particular. So we've set aside some funding just in case we can actually find the people and the resources to do something like that. That was the thought, that would be inclusive of really helping our secondary schools with a more strategic effort, inclusive of number 1, which would be for all schools.
Okay, so all schools need math tutoring is what you're saying? Okay, so can we put that in there, that it's for math tutoring?
We can. Like I said, if we need to make a change, we'll come back to the committee, because ultimately it comes down to whether or not we can find the actual people. And if we can't, we'll have to evaluate something different and come back to you all to let you know how we're going to actually spend the money. But that was kind of the thought with that.
Okay. Thank you. Anybody else on with Esser funds and fund balance? No.
Good.
Okay, so we need a motion to send the Esser and fund balance funding for approval.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so that's 3-0. Next up is the state supplement payment approval.
Yes, so included in this year's budget, state budget, there were allocations to districts based on some equity factors for a state-supported local teacher supplement. We received $1.5 million. It was designated how much each would receive. Our allocation allows for a $436 payment to our teachers. I think every district except for 5 received these dollars. The 5 largest districts did not. We are number 6. That's why our number is an allocation and dollar amount per teacher is the lowest. It is a recurring budget item, but if they were to change any of these formulas or allocations because of where we sit, we could fall off of this. So this will be something as we receive it annually, I'll bring back to you as a payment to staff. I'm proposing we do this as a one-time payment in May. In their last paycheck.
Okay. So just so I understand this, okay, so it's teachers and certified instructional support. So who else other than teachers gets this?
So it'll be some of your, I believe your guidance, your media coordinators. I'm trying to make sure that the names of the titles that I'm giving you, most of them know who the certified instructional support, they're licensed through DPI and they have certifications. So this is all dictated by DPI, and who is eligible will be the same as who's been eligible for the other state payments that we've made.
Okay, so typically supplements are recurring. So if we do 436 and then the state doesn't give us any of the money next year, are we still required to give the 436?
No, that's why I have proposed this as a one-time payment of $436. When and if we receive the funds again next year, I'll come back to you and tell you what that dollar amount is and make a proposal of when and how we make that payment.
So this is really a one-time
schedules. That prevents us from increasing our schedules. Because again, we've had recurring dollars in the state budget before that have not recurred. So
this is a one-time supplement, not a recurring one, unless we get funds from the state.
Correct. They have proposed it as a recurring and say they put money in the budget, but because of where we rank and where we are on this list, I'm proposing that we do this as a one-time payment, and as funds are renewed each year, we'll come to you with that dollar amount and let you know what the number is, because they made adjustments to this after they posted it. So this is our final number, which is a little less than the original.
Donna, when do you anticipate funding of this, and when would you anticipate payment going out?
I guess it really depends on if they're making any state adjustments that, what the legislature is doing right now, whether or not they have any mini bills or if there's anything that holds up right now. I would assume, but we haven't received any planning allotments. I would assume those funds would be dropped early in the year, earlier than we have this year. We didn't get this information until February, I believe, of this year. So we couldn't have made the payment any sooner than we are doing right now.
And I'm assuming we were funded the least because it's calculated the same way that all of our state funding is calculated. Is that correct?
Yes.
Hey, Shauna, you started naming entities that would be recipients of this. It may sound, minute, but I don't think it's minute. I think it will save us headaches, because I can see the emails now with people saying we didn't get $436. Can you have something just posted that just simply explains who the state has allocated this for, and that way anybody that looks at that will know that they didn't qualify. We won't get emails saying they didn't get the $436.
Yeah, I'll pull all the Q&A information and list out exactly the detail of what the state designated this for, because they don't allow you to pay any more, and you can only pay certain people. And if you don't spend all the money, then it just goes back. So,
Okay. But when we go to the full board with this, can you add this to the items so that we know what everybody is going to be paid, the 436?
Sure.
And so have we already gotten the 1.5 million from the state to pay this in May?
They did drop the allocation in February, yes.
Okay. So I really think that we have to call this a one time, because we don't really know what's going on. And I don't want people to think that, because it says the funding received may vary from year to year, but that makes it sound like they're still going to get something, and we're not really sure what's going to happen with the state.
Right.
Is what I hear you saying.
Right. I hesitate to change a supplement schedule that then we will be responsible for based on a state funding that either we receive or don't receive. So this is the most efficient way to do it. Funding is received, they dictate the dollar amount, we don't dictate the dollar amount. So if any of that varies, I come to you and let you know what those numbers are and the allocations received, and we go from there.
So for example, principals and APs don't get this,
Nope.
right? But they're certified instructional, right?
Well, they're school administration. I know they're school administrators, and
they're certified.
Right, but they're certified school administrators and not instructional. So yeah.
See, that's why it's going to be so important to publish that who gets the list. And I do agree with Shauna. If the state put it out and they listed it a certain way, let's follow with that. That way, if there's ever any questions, we can always say state.
Right.
Not as a cop out.
Right. Right. And I'd like to see the list. Like, is instructional coaches in there?
They should be, yes.
Okay. Okay, so we'll wait for the list. Okay. So I need a motion to send this to the full board.
Do we want to send it to the full board with the changes, or
Yes.
as is, and she just, okay.
She's going to add that information that we asked for, yes.
Okay, I'll second it because I saw Todd put his hand up first.
Okay, all those
I'll
in
make a
favor?
motion to send it with changes.
Yes, with changes.
Second
So
it.
just to be clear, on the budget proposal, we're doing that with changes too, once Shauna talks to Jared and all that. Okay. Next up is the school nutrition contract proposal for small wares and supplies.
Yeah, so I don't know if you want to put the two together. You know, annually we bring you all the renewal contracts for school nutrition, and this one, as well as the chemical ware washing supplies, are both two bids and contracts that we bring to you for approval from the board. All the bid tabs and information have been attached.
Any questions for either the small wares and supplies or chemicals? If not, we can motion to send both to the full board.
So moved.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. 3-0. After school program tuition rates.
So when we originally came to you all, we let you know that we had done some research, or we're doing research to find if there was any grant funding or supplemental funds for childcare programs. We sourced some applications and some grants through North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services. We completed applications for all of our sites and have been approved for grant funds for all 12 sites. These funds are subject to a recertification. It's a quarterly payment, and it is also subject to the availability of the funding. So I'm not sure if that's some of how we receive these funds. The largest reason we were able to get these or qualify for these grants was because we were 5-star rated. And I know we've talked about our 5-star rating in the past. So some of the qualifications and criteria for use of these funds was also to provide assistance to families on tuition rates. So I have brought back to you an amended rate for next year for our families and our employee rate that is lower than the previous to offset with those grant funds. So right now I've got $100 a week. Previously it was $125 and $95 for the additional child in the same family, and then a $25 employee discount.
So staff will be $75 and $70 for the second child, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
So staff will get the additional $5 discount for the second child?
Yep.
Yeah.
Because it's a discount of 25. So for one child, is 75, and then 95 was for the, so you take off the discount and it's 70. So 75 and 70 for staff and 195 for parents.
And Shauna, have you seen any of the registration numbers for this year? Is it, are they still registering? Is it complete? What do those numbers look like?
We just opened registration once you all approved that original. I think it's a little too early to tell. I haven't received any of that information yet, but I can get you all that data and include that when, you know, I don't know what their trends are, like where would they expect to be at this point in the registration process, but I can definitely find out for you. I wasn't able to get any of that information yesterday.
Okay.
Any other questions on that? If not, can we have a motion to send it to the full board?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Well, thank you very much, Shauna and your staff, for the grant, because that's a huge thing for this year.
Yes.
So
This year, yes.
thank you. Okay, next up is the teletherapy support. Oh, wait, yeah, yes.
So student support has been working to find a solution to provide mental health supports for our students. We originally received some funds through Esser that were restricted to contracts. They were seeking to find contracted mental health therapists and were unable to really find anyone that would fill into that niche for us. So they did an RFP. They've been working on this for quite some time. This has been in the works probably 9 months plus, just to try to find a partner that can help with providing these supports. What you have here is it'll be a three-month pilot at the 5 schools we have listed. Once that pilot is over, they will provide mental health supports in all of our high schools. It's approximately, I think each therapist should be able to provide, like, I think it was 1,200 sessions in a 12-month period. So this is a 12-month contract. The Esser funds that are supporting this will expire in September of 2023. So we are going to be within the guidelines and the funding that we've received.
Okay, don't we have mental health therapists through the county?
Yes.
So what's the difference, or are they
This
having
is a
trouble hiring?
teletherapy. This is teletherapy, so it's a virtual therapy environment, which they're able, I believe, to reach more students in that platform than they are in a face-to-face platform.
Okay, but where are we with the mental health therapists that we have with the county? Or do we not have them all? Are we having trouble hiring, or do we have any idea how many we have?
I don't know the number offhand. I can get that data for you all, but yes, that partnership is still going. In the fall, during really in last year through the summer and into the fall, we were having a difficult time getting them into schools, getting them hired. I had a lot of transition and turnover, and at the time, the thought was, well, if we can't get the consistency every single day and every single week, what are our other options? And this was the other option that staff had researched and come up with that other districts were using, just because of the shortage that we had in mental health therapists and behavioral therapists. So we still have that partnership. I'm not sure exactly as to the staffing levels today, but we can find out exactly how many we have and report that to you all. But this is kind of a layer on top of that layer.
Can we get that information before the board meeting?
Yes.
Just so we can understand what we're doing. I know there's two pieces. I understand what you're saying, but we need to know what's going on with the mental health therapists through the county.
Yes, we can provide that. I'll get that to you by end of the week.
Okay, thank you.
And also, we're talking virtual therapeutics. Is this something where it would be done at school, or would we set up during school time or home time, or what parental involvement is going to be associated with this? Because I just don't want our students talking to someone on a computer, and God knows what they're going to be conversing about.
So will the parents have to sign off on it?
Yes. So parents would have to give consent. There'd have to be information given by the parent to release the child to engage in any therapy sessions. Parents would be involved the entire time during this process and would have full knowledge. So the idea is to have this take place during the school day for children who might qualify or need it, above and beyond what we're already providing in terms of counseling or mental support in the schools.
So it's only during the school day, not on the weekends or anything else, just during 8 to 4?
I believe so, yes.
Okay.
And this company, are they come highly recommended? They're vetted. What type of track record do they bring to the table?
It's Atrium Health.
They got good results. I mean, be it Atrium or North Star, they got good with this process. I'm just a human kind of guy, and I don't mind virtual like we're doing right now, but this has kind of been vetted out. I mean, I just want to make sure that the children, as they receive these types of therapeutics, are just in good hands. That's all.
Yeah, they did have a committee that reviewed this. There were, I think, 5 or 6 different submissions of documentation in the RFP. So it did go through a more than just a single person review. So.
I think that I don't know if Reverend Benson was going there, but I think in person would be way better than on a computer or stuff like that. But if this is what we can do, I don't know what else. So the 3 month.
So I think the idea is to provide all services with in-person people first, and then this would be a secondary level of support if needed. If we do not have enough personnel to go physically in a school, it's kind of like a backup option, I guess.
Okay, so
Okay.
But the contract, though, we have to pay for whether or not we use it. So I don't understand the difference between the 3 month trial, and then is that just the contract to begin with, and then we would sign the 12-month contract, or I don't understand the difference.
Right, so we're going to test it for 3 months. That was part
Okay.
of the agreement, and as long as all parties agree and they don't, neither wants to terminate the agreement, then we will move forward with the 12 months.
So right now we're only out 20. This is just this is asking us a request just for $26,000 for the 3 month trial.
If we want to do just the 3 months and then do another contract for the other, I think in the terms of the contract, and I can talk to Michelle about this, in the terms of the contract, we can designate, go ahead and do the full contract so we're not having to do it twice. Designate that the 3 month term of the trial be agreed upon for both. And I believe that is in the paperwork, that it can be terminated after that 3-month trial period by either party. So are you asking us just to do the 3-month trial first and come back with another contract later?
I mean, I feel like it's good as written. I mean, I feel like we have a escape clause after the 3 months, do we not, if we don't like it?
Correct.
So why would we bring it back? I'm good with the way it is.
Does the contract say that?
Yes, in the terms, it has, in the agreement that we've been working through, it has that both parties have the option at the end of the 3-month trial period to terminate.
So the 3-month trial has IT costs and overhead costs in it. So we have to buy 5 iPads. So that's what they're going to be doing, not through their Chromebooks, but through their iPads.
Yes. And yes.
Okay.
Based on the fact that you all say that there were multiple levels of scrutiny provided to this, I agree with Todd. We do have the ability to not continue after 3 months, so I'm good. I just want to make sure our children are safe from these machines.
Okay, so I need a motion to send the teletherapy support to the full board.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
The 2 informational things. The first one is the state 403B.
Yeah, so the 403B plan that the state currently offers is going to be discontinued. As a result, we will need to make available some options. The individuals who have those current plans can open, it's a qualifying event, and they'll be able to have another 403B if they choose. As part of the process, we are going to do an RFP. Right now, I want to review what 403B vendors we have and what products they're selling. I feel that it's our due diligence to at least review that and make a selection and have some criteria that we use. So I'm currently working to write an RFP to solicit bids for a 403B that we can offer as a district that will be an option for our staff. The timeline on this is probably, I'm looking in June, at the end of June, the employees that have the state 403B can no longer contribute, and they have till the end of September to transition their funds. So the goal is to have a recommendation to you all by July, the July board meeting, so that they will know what plans they can move their funds to. I just wanted to make you all aware.
Any questions? No. Next is the COVID relief funding update.
Yeah, I don't know if we've got several funds that are expiring in September. So we are working right now to ensure that we've exhausted all those dollars. I received some information today. They were working on getting some additional funding allocations for some of the one-time payments that we made and bonuses that the state allocated this year. And so as we reconcile some of those out, I believe we will receive additional dollars that will help us extend and provide as much as we can moving forward with all the different dates and funding criteria that we've gotten through Esser.
Any other questions? Our next meeting is May 24th, and I need a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Thanks.